Blitzers and future Mumrads. I'm Littlefinger, here to share a little more knowledge with you. This time today, I am talking about the PZ-38T, which is a Tier 3 light tank. This is my first review of a light tank. Let's take a look at the tech tree and see where this tank will take you. Alright, so here we are after the PZ-35. We go to the PZ-38 and then to the 38NA, which then goes down to the PZ-4, and from there you can branch out and either choose to go down the mouse line or the E100. Check out my video on the German which ones to play video to get an idea of the differences between these different lines. And let's take a look at this tank. You can see here it comes with a 3.7 centimeter gun, which you can then upgrade to the 2 centimeter auto loader. I chose the 4.7 centimeter L43 for my main gun here. It doesn't have quite a good of shell penetration numbers, but it does do excellent with the alpha damage. So anyway, let's take a look here. You can see protection is fairly weak at 9%, firepower 20, shot effective 38, and maneuverability 54. After having spent the last couple weeks working on the mediums in Tier 3, these tanks do feel a lot more nimble, which fits my preference and play style a lot better. Anyway, this tank comes with 370 hit points, 225 millimeter frontal and turret armor there. Kind of right in line with the average for the other light tanks in the class there. 200 horsepower is on the low side, and 42 kilometers per hour and 35 traverse and 32 turret traverse are also on the low side for the tier. Rate of fire here at 15.79. It does have a fast gun and does really good damage with your APCR. But outside of this, I really didn't have any trouble. You think of a DW, I think that's sitting at about 40 millimeters of armor. So really didn't have any, and that's a Tier 4, so didn't really have much problems with having to switch over to Pramo there. So let's take a look at how this is set up. I am not running any camouflage consumables, the repair kit, multi-purpose restoration pack, and adrenaline. And I'm running all three. These are relatively cheap, so I go ahead and run them. Standard fuel, chocolate bar, and protective kit. Ammunition here, I'm running about 13 rounds of the APCR. I don't think I ever really needed that. And then for equipment, the enhanced gun lane drive, which increases your aiming time. The vents for improved crew skills, which helps across the board. And then I went with the coated optics. Really this third one's a toss-up in my opinion. You could go with pretty much any of these. So let me pull up the spreadsheet and we can compare this to the rest of the tanks in the tier. Alright guys, here is our Tier 3 light tank spreadsheet. You can see that there are 7 tanks. Germany has 3, Russia 2, UK has 1, and Japanese have 1 tank as well. So at 370 hit points, this is best in class there. Hull armor is good at 25 millimeters, but the turret is a little bit weak compared to the other tanks in the tier there. It is one of the lightest tanks, but has a fairly low maneuverability compared to the other tanks in this tier. You can see there all of those numbers are red, indicating that they are below average. Where this gun, where the tank stands out is obviously with the gun. You look at those damage numbers; they're much higher than the rest of the tier. And especially that Pramo, but like I said, really wasn't needed. So rate of fire there at 15.8 is actually a little bit on the slow side. Most of these tanks have autoloaders and have between 4 and 6 shells in a magazine, so they can do a little bit more damage, but their dispersion is going to be a lot worse. So you can see here at 0.39, that is next to the best, and at 1.7 aim time, that is also next to the best. This really stands out. This is a fast loading, quick aiming gun, and I really had a blast. So let's take a look at some gameplay. Alright guys, first game here on Middleburg. We are low tier. Light tanks usually start at the top, so I'm going to ask everyone to come to the top because we have a majority of light tanks, only 2 down there at the bottom. And I like to come to this corner. It's really a good corner to hide in, especially if you have support to your right. If a tank comes around and can get to the ridge there that you can just barely see on my right, it's difficult to get out and get yourself clear so you're not getting shot. So I sat there quite a while. No one pushed up, so I figured that they must be going base. And the PZ2G comes around. I get 2 quick shots on him there, and you can see how I play the ridge line here, making sure that I can back up behind that ridge. I have only got 1 tank up here helping me. We've got 1 that's AFK at spawn at the moment. I've got a couple good shots on there, and I track him, and I want to try and get him out of the game, shoot and hit that sloped armor part the first time and then hit the dirt the second time. So I've missed my opportunity to get him out of the game, and right now I just want to get myself into a position where I am not extremely exposed. So you can see how I'm working this ridge line, pulling forward for my shot and then backing up. But because I don't have any help to my right, the PZ2G was able to push around the corner there. Luckily the cap is going, so I think he has gone around to try to reset the base. So I'm going to push up on the 2G just because I know he is a one-shot, and go ahead and get him out of the game. And I think maybe I surprised him a little bit and was able to finish him off. And I figured the other guy had dropped down to go into base, so I came around that corner a little bit too fast and rushed the shot there. And he hadn't gone anywhere. So again, working this ridge line, just sticking my tank out. I'm trying to experiment on when to use HE. So I tried it on the back of his tank there, just to see what would happen. Of course, I only did like 22 damage with that shot, but he wasn't a very experienced player, so I was able to finish him off without any further damage. They've got 2 that I know of that are fighting at the flag, so I'm going to go around when this AFK Hetzer lights up here, and so I'm going to go ahead, and this is of course fast forwarded, just shooting an AFK guy here. It's kind of boring, but going to go ahead and take out a whole tank without him even waking up. So we are down with 1 tank left, and just going to go ahead and push into the flag area, get a shot in, and we get the win there. So light tank, I use the ridge lines to my advantage as kind of a peek and boom strategy there of pulling forward, shooting. You can see here I did 1,200 damage. Obviously a lot of that came off that Hetzer there, 440, but pretty much finished off the other 2 tanks all by myself. So anyway, let's take a look at some more games. Alright, here we are on Fort Despair. This time I am platooning with Ironjaw. Really good player I like to platoon with quite a bit. We are going to push right. Not too worried about the rest of the team when I'm going with a platoon mate. It's kind of one of those things you learn how they play, and you can work together really well. So we are going to push the corner and See if we've got anybody down here. Sure enough, that PZ-S35 pops up. One of the better armored tanks at tier 3, and you can see here just putting shots right into him. Not too much problem. Bounced that one. He had angled there quite a good bit. But of course, just remember, guys, you always want to aim down there at the lower glacis. It's probably the weakest part on the front of the tank. So they've got a couple guys sitting up there at the typical hiding spot for these lower tier tanks. So we are able to disrupt them and get them moving back. Go ahead and drop adrenaline here. I got a couple tanks, want to make sure that I'm going to get some good shots in. He is taken out, and we go ahead and finish him off for the kill there. And just checking to see where the other guys are on the map, and Iron Jaw there goes off to the right, so I will follow him. Always better to work in pairs. Make sure you're using ridge lines whenever possible. And you can see the accuracy here on the gun. That bounce, but you can see that's a very small area. Get a shot in there. It's going to get another shot in, but I get blocked. Another bounce, and then I finish him off for the kill. And they have 2 left. See that T2 medium was all the way at the back there, so I figure he is sweeping around. Gonna go ahead and try to intercept him, and just kind of keep a look here at the angling of my tank. So I angled just away from him, so he has primarily got just the side of my tank to aim at. That way he did bounce quite a few of them. You can see there he's bouncing more. And platoon mate takes the last kill, and a fairly easy victory. But you can see how fast that gun really loads. Did 588 damage there. Alright, next game I'm going to show you here is on Copperfield. Although I am low tier on this one, I was hoping to show you some new maps. I'm kind of liking talking about different locations to go and whatnot. But anyway, on Copperfield, I do like this ridgeline over here, especially in a tank like this one that's got 10 degrees of gun depression. You can really use this ridgeline to your advantage. Take your shot and back up. Also note that I've got my tank turned just slightly so that any shot that hits the front is going into angled armor. That does give me a chance to bounce a little bit more shots. You can see there I did take quite a few shots, but I'm up against a couple tier 4 tanks there, the A20 and the Luchas. And this guy, the A20, is playing real well. He's only showing his turret, so I switched over to APCR, but the Luchas comes out. Don't need that for him, so I'm going to switch back. And you can see how much red is showing on the A20 on the turret there, so that's a tough shot. But I am just being patient, using this ridgeline, taking shots when they present themselves. I'd really love to get that PZ2G out of the game. So I'm keeping an eye on him as well. And he's going to make the mistake of coming up. And so now we've got the A20, and I know there's an M3 Lee down there. He hasn't been very active. So I'm going to go down and push on the A20. Let me get a couple shots on him there. And then he's dropped down the hill into the base area. I get shot from the left, which means there's probably someone sniping on the other side. I get hit from the M3. Well, it wasn't actually the M3. I thought it was going to be the M3. And so we've got this TD, the T40 down here. So I am just going to use a TD strategy here and just push up along their side. I do make a little bit of a mistake leaving too much of a gap here, and I tried to go behind him, but he manages to back up. But just trying to get behind him, and that way, if I can stay behind him, there's nothing he can do. This is kind of tight quarters here, but you can see just moving it around and obviously staying behind him. And luckily for me, that M3 lead was AFK, so you can see here now my dilemma is I am out of AP rounds. It's kind of a mistake on my part. I was only carrying 26. I could have carried 36. Never thought I would run through 26 shots. HE is going to be useless here. So I'm going to have to go ahead and just use my APCR. See, I tried the HE and that didn't do anything. So anyway, finish him off, and our base is at 70, and we only have the one Luchus there who is camping on the other side. So carefully push up the ridge here. He might be AFK, I'm not sure. But at this point, it looks like we're just going to cap out the base anyway. Wanted to try to see what HE is going to do. Want to put a video together on when to use HE. But you can see with this gun at 278 meters there, we are losing a little bit of accuracy. So get another last shot in, but we've captured the base. And you know, I did a lot of shooting in this game and ended up doing a whopping 1,694 damage for another mastery in this tank. So not a very strong team, but managed to hold it together long enough and be patient. See, I took 34 shots there. So anyway, fast gun, good aim time, you can do a lot of damage. Alright, last game here on Fort Despair. Top tier. I tried as hard as I could to get some battles on different maps, but I guess Matchmaker was not my friend during this time. So anyway, we will go with the tried and true Fort Despair. Told the team going right and push around this corner. Slow it down to normal speed here, and I am cautiously moving around. This is where you can turn the corner and be face to face with 3 or 4 tanks. So be very cautious as you come around here, and make sure that you can, oh wait, you can't back up because Mr. Noob is right behind you and is blocking you from moving. Yeah, so that was one of the ways not to be a noob that I explained in one of my previous videos. But don't get right behind other tanks, and you can see him, he'll just push right on up, which is good for me. He will take enemy fire away from me, and he will quickly die. So anyway, just being cautious here. And just pumping shots with this gun that you can see with great aim time, good penetration, and just dishing out damage right now. So anyway, gonna go ahead and side scrape a little bit better off of this wall. You can see here now I'm turned in, so the front of my tank is facing this wall. Makes it a little bit more difficult for those 2 tanks down there to get shots in on me. We are 4 on 4 right now, and this looks like a PZ2G is going to push up on me. I don't really want to let him get here, so get him in the tracks and then finish him off. And then we've got the PZ4A, and he's got a big gun. He just shot there, so I've got time. I can probably get 2 or 3 shots in before he shoots again, so I'm going to go ahead and quickly get around him. And he's on the move, so he's probably waiting for aim, and go ahead and finish him off. And then we've got 1 guy left, and I'm going to have to push around these rocks to get a shot on him and finish him off with kill number 4. So again, quick gun, good gun depression. This tank moved fairly well. It's not the best for the mediums in the class, but you know, this was a tank that, you know, you can get up and do 600, 800 damage fairly quickly. I played 2 games this morning and 2 masteries there this time, 982 damage. So really enjoyed this tank, and as always, guys, have fun out there, stay safe, get educated, not fingered. Littlefinger out.